Hello everyone, my name is Parthiban. I am from Leadernomics India. Today we are speaking to Mr. Rajesh Kumar Singh. He is the Global Head HR for KPIT Technologies Limited. Thank you, Mr. Rajesh. Really appreciate your time on
My
a Sunday
pleasure.
morning. We saw your very interesting journey about yourself. You started in the government and then you moved to private sector, then you did your startup, and then you again back to. Tell me about this journey. Uh, Not many people will leave government and go to a private because of various factors, the perks and things. What was your thought process? What made you jump to a private? Tell me a little bit about your journey.
Uh, Government is very prestigious and it has its own challenges as well as charms. And it's true that only rare leave the comfort of government. I was posted in Ministry of Communication and IT and in Department of Telecom. And if we see the sector, so regulation was handed over to TRAI and service providing wing had been corporatized and the role of private sector was becoming more and more important. And the role of government was limited to just three things: spectrum management, licensing, and universal service obligation. So I was looking for a challenging assignments and I found that private sector I will be able to contribute more to the society and as well as to myself also.
That's interesting. So your entire thing is how do you want to contribute back to the society, and you find private you could have lot more freedom and ability to reach to the larger audience.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, if you look, so government has the challenges, like I said, it's tenure based promotion. So if you see, after 15 years of experience, I became global head HR in Alchem Laboratories at the age of 38. And in government, typically, you see secretary people become at the age of 55 or 56. So you see the acceleration which the private sector offers. If you are really capable, and of course, randomness matters. You have to be lucky also, but if you are able to demonstrate consistent value to the key stakeholders and you are able to tackle the key challenges which organizations are looking for, then I think the private sector definitely has its own advantages compared to government in terms of accelerated career path as well as the rewards.
Okay. And tell me, what were the key challenges, especially when you had the transition from government to private? What were the key challenges, and how did you overcome that?
So I was lucky to get the first assignment in Infosys. Lucky in the sense that Infosys has already built very scalable systems and processes. And the first year it was full of learning for me because the way the private sector works, and in HR you can see performance management or compensation management, or in fact the engagement aspects or the organization developmental initiatives, it's different from what we used to do in government. So very quickly, when in Infosys also, I was just looking for how do I make impact. So in discuss with the business leaders and my own team, we identified few key challenges in terms of retention as well as development, and we put focused initiatives, and we were able to show impact in a very short span of time. So the key to success, whether in government or private, is to look challenges through the lens of opportunities. And we also have to be very fast in analyzing what is working, what is not working, so that we are able to do course corrections midway. We don't analyze at the end. So that's the key.
Okay, that's interesting. So what you're saying is, very importantly, you need to have certain level of growth mindset. Use these problems as more as an opportunity where we can able to grow ourselves, where we can able to take as a challenge, right? So can you give in one example of your biggest challenge, and what did you do and how did you overcome that?
So there are many, but if I have to say, I think my startup itself was the biggest challenge, I will say. And I really admire all the people who have made it a success and those who have not also made it a success because they had the courage to take the plunge. Uh, it's the typically in the startups and including mine also, mostly we see the assumptions with which we start, and once we roll out the product or the service, most of it, it's we see that there is significant gap compared to what we have in the mind and when we execute. So there also the key is to find out what is working and what is not working. Like in our startup, definitely in 1 year time, we could figure it out that raising funds is the key. to make it last. And because of the external challenges at that time, we were not able to. So we had to find a buyer to make an exit. And I say it's one of my toughest challenge as well as the biggest achievement that we were able to make an exit. And all the co-founders now are in a better position than they were before the startup.
Okay, that's interesting. And talking about startups, right now, that's some kind of a buzz happening in India, and a lot of youngsters they wants to plunge into the startup. What advice would you give? Is this the right timing, or what should they do first before they actually get into the startup? And because everybody should not burn their fingers in the first place, right? They can always learn from others. So, what would you be the one or two key takeaways you would like to give them?
So, be it for a startup or the career, I think not only me, but if you look at our ancient philosophers also, they used to say that knowing oneself is the key. So, we should know ourselves, what we are really good at.
Okay.
And because only we can make out whether the career or the or startup also only on the basis of the strengths we have. And secondly, I have seen that seeking sufficient information, mostly whether in a startup or in the career or in the education also, we should know exactly what is in store for us once we take the plunge. Mostly I've seen people don't take that effort to take information, like whether you are joining a company. So what is the company values? How is your boss working style? How is the company actually performance is? Or say startup. So okay, so what is the opportunity before you have? Who are the competition? What is the market segment? How you are going to establish yourself as a different differentiator? Same for education. In fact, for personal life also, well, choosing partners. What do you really like? What your partner likes? What are the interests? That's what. So at least we go there with the full information. And last but not least, it's very much important to have a very rapid learning mindset. So startups, we don't have the luxury, of analyzing and all that. So maximum in 1 day time, we should be able to figure it out what decisions need to be taken and what it works, what is not working. But a word of caution in the sense that people who are going there, they should go with the mindset that the probability of not making it a success is very high.
Okay.
I also see the lot of optimism bias in the people who start. You see whether in India or outside also, majority of the startups fail, and they fail within a year or two, and there are various reasons. The business model doesn't work. There is the lack of
Market.
lack of differentiation. Basically, also you are not able to generate sufficient demand. Basically, I would say creating supply is still easy. Now, while at the time of startup, people think, okay, I've established something that itself is great. But after establishing, how do you generate demand? That is the key. So yeah, so seek sufficient information, know yourself, and be ready for the failure. It's okay. Life is a journey. We don't have to, and we have only one life. In fact, that was our startup also, Olito, one life to live for. So you take risks. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work, but it's all part of journey. I think as long as the people have perseverance and the grit, and they are willing to put that extra effort, I think in the end you will see it works out all fine.
Okay, so what you're saying is basically, yes, take risk. Failure is part of life, but most important is what you learn out of it, and how do you make changes and move forward, right? It should be a good learning, and it should help us to grow ourselves, every individuals in that manner. Excellent. So one last thoughts to our youngsters, if you want to give them one nuggets about any insights or nuggets about from anything, so that they can improve on.
Have the passion for learning. When I say the passion for learning, that means develop few good reading habits, have the network of the people who are really good in your chosen career field, so you can learn from them, and look for challenges. I think maybe when we are in the midst of challenges, we don't realize, but they are the best source of learning, and they will bring out the best in you.
Okay. So thank you so much, Mr. Rajesh. Really appreciate your time. And so we are talking to Rajesh Kumar Singh. Hope you really learned out of this wonderful session, and look forward to see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.